Hi everyone, Brad from Unwired View here for another review. Today we're going to be talking about the Motorola Defy. And when you think Defy, you think, I defy you, or so commanding, like I'm defying something. Or is it just defying cell phone service? I don't know. It's crazy, it could be anything. But I'll tell you what it's supposed to be defying, and that is water and gravity in a lot of ways. Not that any phone can actually defy gravity, but defy the effects of gravity rather. So, take a look at this thing. Motorola Defy, okay? Well, it doesn't look like a rugged device, does it? That's the crazy thing, is this actually could pass as just a regular old phone that, you know, you drop it in the sink or drop it in the toilet. Ooh, don't let us know that you dropped it in the toilet. But let's say you did. This doesn't look like a device that could hold up, right? Just a simple little thing. Most rugged devices you think of, okay, it's a tank. It's huge, bulky. I can't fit it in my pocket because it's so huge. This one's just dinky. But the thing is, this one actually is a rugged phone. And that's what it's meant to do. So, the great thing about this is, well, look at it. You got the blacks, the whites, all the nice little, it's a kind of a soft look to it, really. All for a rugged device. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play around with the Motorola Defy. I'm going to show you a few things on it, share with you my overall thoughts on it, and we're going to do something that I never get to do with the review phone. I get to dunk it in water. So I'm really excited about it. Hopefully you are too.
Here's the Motorola Defy in all of its glory, checking out all of its ruggedness and its softer tones, as I was mentioning earlier. Let's go around this thing and see what there is. First we see a 3.7-inch touchscreen. Not too shabby for a phone this size. I mean, you take a look at it and it just fits perfectly in the hand. And with this 3.7-inch touchscreen, it's actually larger than the iPhone touchscreen. That's saying a lot because it really doesn't look like it's that much bigger when you look at it, especially for such a so-called rugged device. So, going through, we have the usual Android buttons here. They're all touch sensitive. So we have the menu, home, back, and search. And then on the screen itself, we have the Moto Blur interface. This is running off of Android 2.1. Now, just looking at the bottom, you got the navigation here. It shows that we have 7 different screens that we can choose from. And for looking at the outside, on the outside we have the rubberized feel. So pretty much the entire thing feels like it's rubber. Just makes it feel like it's going to withstand it a little bit more than the standard. Actually, I said that it's rubber all the way around except for actually this white band. This one just feels more like a plasticky kind of feel to it, but all the rest of it is all rubber. So, looking at this though, we've got a few torque screws here, pretty much on each side, and that's really the only indicator to me that makes it look like a tank. Because other than that, it actually looks pretty soft. So, I mean, I take a look at this thing, I see the whites, and just it doesn't look rugged. So, now, going through the buttons on the side here, let me just drop it just as a demonstration of its durability. Yeah, that's exactly what I was meaning to do there. We have on the side here the micro USB charger. So it's got a nice little stopper flap that's supposed to help keep all the water out. So I just always want to make sure that I get it in really, really good, just because I'm paranoid that way. And then over here you've got your 3.5mm jack. So again, the same kind of deal where I just need to feel the little click as it goes in, so that way I know it's actually in there. We also see a 5 megapixel camera with the LED flash. This is also an autofocus camera. Advertising the Moto Blur, of course. Now down here, this is going to be a little spring-loaded gasket, basically, is what it is. So essentially, you just slide this thing open, kind of springs open a little bit, and you got yourself your back cover. Now on this, we put it back on, do it the right way, make sure that it's all tight in there, and then we're back in business. Finishing out the visual tour of the Defy, I showed you the 3.5mm jack, but it also actually has the screen lock right up here, the little power button to get it turned back on. So kind of another thing to point out there. Also the volume rocker, up and down of course. Also of note is the fact that there's no camera button on the outside. Frankly, I just think that has something to do with the overall rugged design of this. It's just one thing that had to be left out. I think the more buttons and openings and anything that you've got on the outside here, then the more likely something is to go awfully wrong in terms of the device itself. So something very important to point out there. Okay, going in with T-Mobile. Ooh, don't know how I did that. With T-Mobile, they have actually gone in and loaded a few unique applications in there. One unique application certainly is going to be the family room. This is one that I've never seen before on any device, let alone Android or Moto Blur. So going into the family room, whoop, there we go. A little bit of a delay there. So that's an 800 megahertz processor, by the way. Overall, it seems to work okay in terms of getting things, getting programs opened up on a timely manner. But there are little delays like that which are rather noticeable. So not super fast, but not super slow at the same time. Okay, so in the family room, we have the ability to set all of your family up as their own group and group all of their status updates together, their calendar appointments together. You can even just do a little email blast and send out an email to the entire family. Frankly, this is something that I have the ability to do on my email. I can just go into Gmail and do an email blast just fine, so that's not usually a huge deal to me. I can go into the front, one of my front screens, and I can actually load in certain family room widgets. So these are all specific to my family. In here I've got actually several family members to choose from, and so having these widgets might actually come in pretty useful. For example, I have the family calendar for events, family room setups, which will help me figure out which family members I want to include and which ones I don't want to. Also is family updates, and that's going to be more for the Facebook and Twitter updates that your family does. And I can go into selected contacts and choose whoever I want in terms of seeing their status updates. So if there's certain family members that I just don't necessarily care to see all their status updates, then obviously I can just leave them off. For right now, I'm just hitting done. So, because right now it says the family room is the selected contacts, and frankly the family room is all of my family. So, there you go. Going in here, I can just go in and change my settings here, see all updates, and I can go in from there. Just even simple swiping up and down, you can tell there is a small delay. Not much, but it is as if the screen itself is just kind of following my finger along, just tagging along really close by. So it's not an instantaneous reaction to my fingers. So that's definitely one important thing to point out. Oh man, look at these fingerprints. Man, that is just bad. Oh, if only there were a way to actually clean it off. I have a rag. Wait a second. Rag. Water. Well, I don't know. Yeah, looks good. We got everything all set. Yeah, let's just use water to clean it off. Let's do it. Wow, look at that thing. Just kind of sitting in there. Like it's nothing. Kind of crazy to think. Huh. You can even hear it underwater. Crazy. Okay. Alright, let's give it a good little cleaning here. Wipe it off. And like it was nothing. Crazy.
Well, I don't know when the next time I'll get to do that will be, but it was fun while it lasted. I dunked it a few times, I took some videos, I actually took videos on the Defy while it was underwater, took a bunch of pictures, so it was actually underwater during my tests probably a total of 5 or 6 minutes. And of course these were all in about 45-second to 60-second time spans for each one, and I took it out, gave it some time to dry out, but every single time the water dripped off, no problem. I could use the touchscreen without any issues, and I would open up the back and there would be a little bit of water on the sides, so just up on the top and on the bottom, but right here there's a barrier just keeping the water from getting inside. And so going in, there is actually a liquid damage indicator, and normally when you dunk your phone in water, that liquid damage indicator is going to be red. When I went underneath the battery on this one, it was white. So everything was completely dry. To recap a few things that I noticed in my review, number one, first and foremost, is it can live up to its name. It does defy water. Now, I don't recommend doing this all the time. Certainly you don't want to be like, hey, bring all my friends over and hold a party and then show them how it works. Yeah, I guess you could do that, but I'm just not going to recommend that you do that all the time. Just because even though it does defy water, it's more water resistant. It only goes down to about 3 meters. So if you're not cautious about it, chances are something easily could happen to your phone. Certainly you want to make sure that the headphone port and the charging port, as well as the back battery cover, are completely sealed, because otherwise it's not going to do you a lick of good. And it's definitely not going to defy water if water is able to actually get into the phone. I mean, novel concept, right? But that's just how it works. Beyond its abilities to handle water very nicely and efficiently, a few other things I noticed. Number one is it's really just another Android. It's a 2.1 Android with the Moto Blur, so it's much like the Droid 2 Global or the Droid X or basically any of the other Droids. It's got the same kind of operating system on it, so you're really not going to have too different experience with the Defy as you would with any of these other ones. I also noticed that it's very light and easy to hold. It's very comfortable, and I was very happy to find that the audio quality on it is good. The battery life is pretty decent for an Android. And I say for an Android because really no battery is going to be super awesome on one of these. But with this, the battery time is rated for 6 hours of constant talk time, which frankly is pretty darn nice. So those are a few things that I really noticed from my review. Now there are quite a few other things that I pay attention to in my review. And what I recommend doing is checking out my full review at unwiredview.com, because that's going to have a lot more details on everything, whether it's just the water issue or any other thing that's going on with the phone, other features, perks, things that I liked, things that I didn't. So definitely check out unwiredview.com. We'll see you there, and this is Brad. Thanks again.